Okay, welcome everybody to another iBug Android Insight Call. Today is Wednesday, March 20th, 2024. Here on this call, we talk all about Android. We dwell into the arena of the Android, things that run on the Android platform. So if you have a smartphone, a tablet, whether it's a Google tablet, a Pixel tablet, Samsung tablet, a Fire tablet for now, your Google devices, you are welcome on this call. Come and we all learn from each other. We're a community where we help one another. So I just want to say again, welcome to our call. My name is Ava Caruth. I am one of your facilitators, and my co-facilitator is Hershey. Hershey?
Hey everybody, good evening to y'all, and thank you for joining us here at the iBug Android Insight Call.
Yeah, so we just do a little bit of housekeeping real quick. You know, if you want to learn more about iBug, go to ibugtoday.com, and on the website you will find the links for the iBug Android Insight. So if you've missed any shows, you're welcome to go there and catch up on them. You will see everything that's happening within iBug. So from the book club to the iBuzz call to the movie that's coming up.
What we got for the movie there, Ava?
Go ahead, Hershey.
What you got for that movie this week?
The movie is called Poor Things.
Four Things?
From 2023.
All right, cool. Thank you, Ava.
Yep, the movie starts at 8 p.m. and the social hour starts around 7:15 p.m. and it's on the same Zoom link. So, Hershey, any other ways you want to let them know how to look up any of our previous shows if they need to?
Absolutely. So, if you would like, you could find us on YouTube. It's the easiest way, and there's about, 35 videos out there from our past shows. You might find one video that's Ava showing how to fast forward and rewind the A-Lady, I was about to call it E-Lady, but yeah, that device over there, and you could read your books off of it, but youtube.com, and then in the search bar, type in iBug, I-B-U-G, and then Android Insight, I-N-S-I-G-H-T, and you'll find a playlist as well. So if you even go to our channel itself, you're able to find the playlist, and you'll find all the 34 videos from since we've started putting it all on YouTube. So there you go. And then, of course, our website, ibugtoday.com.
And we have Hershey. You know, we've been having a great turnout on our list.
Oh, man, everybody's so helpful over there. I mean...
Yeah, and thank y'all for the questions.
Was it Macdroid or something droid? We're droiding.
Yep, well, we've been having great questions coming across the list, great responses, so I want to thank everybody. Hershey, you want to tell them how to join the list?
Absolutely. So if you want to join the list, send us a blank email to iBug, I-B-U-G, Android, A-N-D-R-O-I-D, Insight, I-N-S-I-G-H-T, the plus sign, and then subscribe. And that's at groups.io for the domain part. So again, let me go ahead and repeat. iBug, Android Insight, plus subscribe at groups.io. And if you send a blank email, you'll automatically be part of the list, and then ask your questions and have fun at it.
Yes. So y'all keep sending those questions out. Y'all keep coming to the list as we come up and find information that affects our Android community that iBug will be putting out. We will always post it on the list so that we can keep everybody informed.
And Ava, if it's real quick before we do the introductions today, I know it looks like we're doing a little different here, but I
Hmm.
just want a quick shout out to the DC area. I went there on Tuesday I mean, I was virtual, but I took my little spaceship here and I floated over there, and really enjoyed it. So if anybody else is coming from that end, and if they joined our list, I just want to give you a quick shout out to thank you so much for hosting us and being able to talk about Android.
All right. Well, now let's do a little bit of introduction because I've heard a lot of names come through. So I hear a lot of our regulars are out here. Then I welcome everybody back. I think I heard a couple of new people, some people that haven't been here in a while. So I want to welcome everybody to our show, as well as just say who you are, where you're from. If you're new, how did you hear about us, and what type of device do you have?
Just feel free to unmute and let us know.
Hi, this is Shay in Seattle, and I have a Samsung Galaxy A32 and a Galaxy Tab A8, and lots of Miss A's and Google.
Nice. Well, welcome back, Michelle. Thank you for coming.
Thank you. Good to see everybody.
Likewise.
Hi, this is Quentin from Texas. I have, Samsung Watch 6. I have the Samsung Fold 5, the Tab S8, a bunch of A-ladies, Fire tablet somewhere, TVs. So, a lot of toys.
So we're just going to ask you all the questions. He got everything. Tab 5, Fold 5, you said once. Sorry.
Fold 5. Fold 5. It's fun.
Well, thank you so much, Quentin, and thank you for coming back again and again in the past couple months. I really appreciate you. Thank you.
Of course.
I'm Wesley from Pennsylvania. I have
Welcome,
a
Wesley.
Braille Note Touch Plus.
Oh, snap. You know what? I was hoping for somebody that would come by with the Braille note or something. Yeah, thank you. Thank you for coming by. And hopefully we could answer
Sure.
some questions for you tonight, too. And
Yeah, and I have a question of my own, so.
Sweet. All right. Well, with that, we'll keep on moving around. I know we got a few people in here. I thought I saw somebody over there. Wait, is it over there? No? Nobody else wants to come by, say hello?
Janice from Maryland. I have a
Hey, Miss
Galaxy.
Janice.
Hey, Josie. I have a Galaxy Z Fold 4 and 3 Echo devices.
Excellent, excellent. Well, we got some foldables, we got some flat phones, we got a little bit of everything here. So I really appreciate it. Thank you for coming by again.
This is Shree from Springfield, Virginia. I just have lots of A-ladies and some Google smart detectors.
Interesting. I wonder how smart. Never mind. But definitely appreciate you coming back around, and thank you for joining us tonight, Shree. Anyone else want to just give us a shout what your name is, where you're from, and if you have any devices perhaps that are Android, or if it's your first time, and thank you for the first timers and our return guests as well. Well, with that, I guess I'm ready for questions. Ava, you got anything else to say?
No, let's go ahead and open up the floor for questions. Questions, comments?
Let us know what your name is and go with it and go for it with your question.
This is Shay.
Hi,
I have a
Wesley.
question.
Oh, sorry.
Go ahead. No,
Okay,
you go
Shay.
first.
All right,
Yes,
Shay.
it's Wesley.
Go ahead, Wesley.
In a recent update, Be My Eyes apparently jacked up the minimum supported Android version. And as I said, I had a Braille Note Touch Plus, and it's running on a pretty old version of Android. It's running on Android Oreo. And is there any way, besides sideloading the old version, to get the newest version onto that device?
Wow, customization is pretty cool, but anybody want to help Wesley out with the situation? This is unfortunate, and you're correct. It's a Braille Note Touch Plus. It's a Braille display device that it runs Android as its back end, and that's
Yeah.
the operating system, which is Oreo.
I'm seeing this more and more with even Slack, Microsoft Office, Bard Mobile.
So the back end story of it, just to give you to you, Wesley, is like they did away with what you call it, Oreo quite a while ago. I mean, they even did away with 10, right?
Yeah.
10 was
Sure.
What-
Yeah.
whatever it was, Pi, and
Q.
then whatever came after Pi. And so we're on Android 11 just to kind of give people like the back end. Well, if anybody has any
Right.
answers or help, so Windows 11 or Android 11 is the oldest that you could be on, and then supported, and then Android 14 is the newest current version, and then Android
Right.
15 is in beta. But
Right.
yeah, the only other
I mean,
way
some.
Go ahead.
Sorry. Some apps do support like Android Lollipop and Jelly Bean still. I mean, I'm not quite that ancient, but
Well, that's the thing that's kind of surprising because some people said that it's not supported, but then when you go to the manufacturer, as you mentioned, Bard was one of the apps.
yeah.
Who else was that? You mentioned a couple of
Slack and Microsoft
Slack,
Office.
which that kind of surprises me there, right?
Yeah.
But again, I don't know. Is it a security thing? I wish also
Perhaps.
HumanWare would support us in this, but they're probably
Yeah.
not.
I asked them about it. They said something about they might not be able to because something about Google or maybe it might have been a misunderstanding. I'm not sure.
No worries, no worries.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's hard to say, and I know you spend good monies on the device, so it's hard to really say for a specific
Yeah.
device.
Assistive tech is just way behind as far as like Android and stuff.
It is, and then the thing is I don't always see the conversation happening. I went to Asia during January 2024,
Oh,
and
yeah.
I dropped by at Google's booth, and they were really cool. Like Laura Allen, you might have seen her on some of the advertisements, even like the Super Bowl already described.
I'm not sure.
I'll
I
send
did.
it on our list so you could probably check it out on there. But in any case, they're listening to us. And when it comes to the Braille and this and that, we've had issues with HID, which is like the HID
Right, yeah.
driver, that human interface driver from
Yeah.
HumanWare. But the thing is are we all having the conversation together, especially when it comes to
Right.
devices such as
I mean,
Android?
it's- It is supported with USB, but not with
With
Bluetooth.
Bluetooth, it's not. Well, it's not as. And with USB, I hear it's slow. So that's the other downfall
yeah.
of it.
I mean,
it's doable,
in the
but it's
case of
slower.
in the case of the Touch Plus, it doesn't use HID. So, anyway, I've spent enough time. So,
No, you're fine. Don't worry. But it is this ongoing thing.
yeah,
The only other support I could provide, I mean, I'm going to give out the website is g.co/disability support. That gets out to Google. But if
Yep.
they have enough tickets, maybe they might want to invest in this situation because
Right.
everybody is left in kind of to sink in this ocean.
Yeah.
And
I mean-
everyone that had the Braille notes,
Yeah.
how can we help the situation?
Sure.
I could think.
you can install the old version, but in the case of some of these apps, you don't get all the new features. Which,
Right.
yeah,
And then you're talking about like Bema AI and
Yeah, exactly.
the groups and
right.
plethora of new
Even the
things like
service
that.
directory. Yeah,
Service directory is a new thing that just added a
Yeah.
couple weeks ago. Yeah. So, the only thing, like I said, I would at least put a ticket in there at GCO/disability support, and I'll try to pass on the same word to others that are owners of such devices because I don't find it fair that we spend $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 buying these
Right.
devices and then, oh well, we're going another direction. What? What about me?
Okay.
I'm the one
Yep.
that's using it. I'm the customer. So I
Yeah.
totally understand your pain with this. And
Yeah.
I said, well, hopefully better fortunes come out of it. But I think more tickets we pile up on situations like this,
Yeah.
better traction we have as consumers or as the end user.
Okay. Yeah. Well, thanks
Yeah.
for that.
Not a problem. Thanks for the question. Who else was next? I heard a couple voices go there. Shay, I think it was, had a question.
Yes, sorry, I couldn't
No problem.
unmute myself. I was wondering, there is the quick button that you can put on the side of your screen that switches the contrast from it inverts it, and I really like that. Is there any kind of button that can go over there for font size? Because I'm lazy and don't like to go settings, display, font size, scroll down when I have to switch back and forth because some websites don't play well with the huge font.
Okay. And anybody got some insight for Michelle here with trying to look for a button to basically change font or be able to quickly get to it as a shortcut, and or color inversion is the other feature that she likes using. So any insight on that? Okay. Well, I got a little bit of insight on this one. I know as far as color inversion, you could have that. So you're using a Samsung phone, as you said in the start of the call. So just to be clear for everybody, it's a Samsung who again? A32?
Yes, what a memory. Yes.
Okay. All right. So A32 you said, and that's running basically modern Android, which is probably like 13 or 14, depending, probably 14. And at the same time, with that movable button, you could set that to do anything, right? So if I wanted it to do another accessibility shortcut, I could set that to that shortcut. And so just depending on, do you use TalkBack, use color inversion, and this enlarging of the font, right? Those are your three.
And reading mode, I like that. That's on there as
And
well.
then reading mode. Okay. On Samsung devices, you have two series of shortcuts. You have your volume up and power button, and that's an instant button. I like leaving that. Just I'm giving you my sequence of it. It's not necessarily you have to be yours, but I like that to be TalkBack because I could quickly toggle it on, toggle it off. The other shortcut series, if you're or physical button type of thing you could use, is volume up and volume, or excuse me, yeah, volume up and volume down held together, and you could set that to do a shortcut or trigger a shortcut, so to speak. And then you have this button, as he's talking about the floaty button. That's it. What it looks like for people that might not have any sight, it's just a little dot that it lights up white or whatever color you'd like it, and then it fades away when it's not in use. So it's not really a bothersome when you're maybe doing stuff on your screen. But that also has a shortcut value to it that you could set too. So depending on, you said 4 shortcuts basically there. So if you could pick at least 2, 3, you might trying different shortcuts elsewhere for different things. And if not, the volume up and volume down, you could maybe set 2 shortcuts there. So you might be able to see if there is I don't recall if font has a shortcut area. It might with the modern OS. It's been a while since I've dug around under the font section. But even if you swipe down from your notifications and if you could jump to accessibility quickly, the accessibility settings, basically, there is a quick toggle for Samsung users where it says high contrast or large font. So you have 2 choices. If you could at least get a shortcut going to just jump to your settings, then you'll have at least one less step. As you say, you don't want to swipe down, swipe up, and swipe down, and go through swiping around. You want to quickly just get to your accessibility settings is what you're seeking. And then for the other settings like reading mode, you could maybe combine reading mode and you mentioned color inversion, reading mode, talkback. Maybe if it's talkback, if you don't use talkback often, you could throw talkback into that settings set. And then for color inversion, if you wanted, you could even use volume up and power. That's how I would use it because it's instantaneous, right? You don't always need color inverted. And the floating button then could become anything else if you want to give it the reading shortcut. Then that floating button could be on a website and you wanted to read it, bam, you hit that button and reading mode launches. So just kind of not play with whatever you want to. This is the thing with Android, it's super customizable, but hopefully that could kind of get you in. If anybody else have any more input, please feel free.
Hershey, this is Janice. What does reading mode do?
Michelle, you want to explain why you like reading mode so much?
I really like reading mode. It's an app that you can go get, and it will read articles. So I open up Google News and I tap on an article and start it in reading mode, and it reads to me at any speed. It also, the text will follow along with you. I can't see the text very well, so I don't see the words, but they're going by. And it used to do this really neat thing. Well, while you were listening to that article, you could back out and go get the next article that you wanted to listen to. So they may have taken away that feature, but as far as reading, it skips all the ads and all the junk. It doesn't forget anything. They're always trying to improve it and asking, like, we don't usually read emails to you, but we did this time. Did we do okay? And you can give it a thumbs up or a thumbs down.
So that's a separate app. It's not in Android's accessibility.
I don't think so. I heard about it here several months ago, and I believe I went to go get it at the Play Store. And it's just called Reading Mode, and it's very simple. No frills, no ads.
Yeah, it sounds like it's better than Select to Speak, as it skips the
Absolutely.
ads.
So, Ms. Janice, this is Hershey. You kind of have it sort of in a little way, but not completely in the form that Ms. Shay's explaining.
Mm-hmm.
If you were to go to an article, sometimes you just go to the Google feed thing and something's interesting. So like, hey, let me go check it out. If the article populates or shows up from whatever website, most websites are good about it, but some are a paywall sort of situation. So you got to have a login or username to, like, Forbes, I think it might be like that. And you would just say, okay, G, read it out loud. And it will take a few, maybe 30 seconds or so, and it will start reading it into that different voice, so to speak. And that way you at least can listen to it or use it or utilize it that way. They have a standalone app, which is, again, it's made by Google. So if you do search your Play Store, just look for reading mode. I think if it's still that way. Some of us have tried it in different fashions and got it from different places, because I think they even now introduced it on the Google Chrome browser for even if you have a PC. So I just have heard of it in plenty of different formats. I just don't recall. But if you go to your Play Store, which is where you download all your apps for Android, and just search for reading mode and look for the app that's released by Google, and you should find it. And if I'm incorrect, please correct me, anyone. It's been a while.
This is Quentin.
Go ahead, Quentin.
I actually have reading mode because I have, the little guy in the bottom right. Reading mode it's kind of one of those apps that it's there. They created it to be used like the others, like what is that, Select to Speak and all those, but they didn't put it on here like everything else. So when you go to the Play Store and download it, it's going to be part of the accessibility. You'll be able to map it to different gestures or buttons like you would magnification or other things like that. Like I said, I have it in the menu, with the little guy. So
for Quentin's Mr. Little Guy over there, it's basically an accessibility button. Shay likes that one button that floats with her, right? And Quentin likes the little guy in the corner, just ditch him to the corner, because he could always go to it's noticeable, and you could always know you could hit your finger in that right corner, and it's always going to do something about accessibility. So that's just a little tidbit between the two questions there.
And that's interesting, because I like the little man in the corner too. I use that as my, what do you call it? What kind of button? And I use that for
mode or
accessibility button. And I use
button.
that for my shortcut button. I use that for my Select to Speak. And select to speak used to do what she was saying, like reading mode, how it follows along with what it's reading. Select to speak used to do that, but now it stays stationary, so you can't, like, wherever you've scrolled and engage select to speak, it won't move. But I like the, moving and following aspect. So it'll be interesting to see if I download reading mode, will it incorporate that in the accessibility shortcut when I hit select to speak?
This is Quentin. So since you do use select to speak, which I used to a lot, reading mode kind of takes that action that select to speech did, but it continuously reads, bless you, it continuously reads, and you can move around your screen without having to
That's
worry
what I
about
like.
it.
Yeah.
Like you can have your article reading, and then you're over there, on Facebook or whatever whatever
Mhm,
app,
mhm, mhm,
because it does have a play and pause. Now
mhm,
I don't know
mhm,
if it's throughout. I have had, because I've used it, of course I have TalkBack on, and um I once had a moment where it paused because
mhm,
I was doing something else.
mhm,
But I don't know if it was because I was doing something else. I think I was in messages or something, and it had both audio, like reading, but then again, you know how kind of like TalkBack, it'll dim other
mhm,
audio, so
mhm,
you can hear it. So I don't know if it was that, but overall, yeah, reading mode, it's great. You just,
mhm.
you know, have it read, and it goes, and you can pause, um, I think skip ahead or back. Um, yeah, it's nice. You should try it.
Yeah, I will. Thank you.
Thank you for that. Any other thoughts, questions? Anybody?
This is Scott.
Hey, go ahead, Scott.
Hey,
Welcome.
So this reading mode app is really intended for those maybe who just want to read certain things and give their eyes a rest. It's definitely not a screen reader like TalkBack, although I guess but I mean TalkBack will do many of the things reading mode. There is a continuous read command in TalkBack, is there not?
That is correct. Yes.
Okay. All
So
right.
what the reading mode also serves as the who does it serve, so to speak? Well, it does serve the blind
Yeah.
in many different regards, but then anyone with
I see.
dyslexia or other reading
Oh yeah.
issues. So because you could change the font color, the size, or space the words out. So it's more than one type of people that they're serving with the app, but it's definitely something that could be a useful tool if you wanted to have it read or have high contrast while while you're using your eyesight if you have low vision. And then with TalkBack, I mean, I know select to speak is hard to maybe let go because TalkBack maybe talks too much, but just kind of practicing the gestures, here and there, if you just flick on TalkBack, force yourself with it, you kind of get into a boat or a mode. Um,
Yeah.
I don't know Quentin like that personally, but I know that he's allowed TalkBack to let him be in his life now. But he wasn't using screen readers when I first met him. I mean, would that be correct, Quentin?
That is correct. In fact, I first started with the select to speak. And so, I would drag and do that whole bit. And then I did more and more start using TalkBack. And so now I don't even really use select to speak, if at all. But with reading mode, you know, even with TalkBack, you do your swiping and tapping and everything else, and it starts reading. But then when you go to do something else, well, guess what? TalkBack switches to that. It focuses something else. So with
Yeah. Well,
reading
now
mode, oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
another quick question. Sort of, does reading mode, uh, if you paused it, would it show on the screen where it left off? I mean, like
Yes.
where it paused? Because I'm thinking, so think of these situations where somebody with low vision may want to to get kind of, avoid a lot of eye strain and fatigue and the like, they may want to have to read something if it's lengthy, listen to something and then pause it at certain points, thinking, wait, I want to take a closer look at this or get this contact information or whatever, and then resume reading from that point.
Yes.
So you can easily do that with the reading mode app.
Yes, that's actually part of what it was made for, was to do that. So you could go back and if you needed to.
To look at your screen to see something that was reading, to look at it, study it, and then move from there.
Right.
Continue reading.
And I'm low vision. I'm extreme low vision, so anything where I don't have to magnify, that's a plus for me. So
for example, like I'll give speeches, and what I do is I have my earbud in and I use Select to Speak, and what I'm saying is being, spoken into my ear, and then I repeat it. So that's how I can, speak smoothly because I can't read smoothly any longer.
Right. This actually would be good for that.
So, but if I have reading mode, because with Select to Speak, once I hit it, I got to go all the way through. I can't, if I stop it, it's going to, and start it again, it's going to start at the beginning.
Right.
But it sounds like with reading mode, like if I needed to pause for whatever purpose, I could hit it and it would pause and it would stay where I left off, and I could resume where I paused. Is that correct?
Yes.
That'd be great.
Yeah, this is Renee.
Go ahead, Miss Renee.
So I heard someone mention that there is a continuous reading mode with TalkBack. I've never tried that. Does anybody know how to activate that? And is there
If you want to give it a quick shot, and I'll try to pull up the TalkBack here in a minute, but if you hit 3-finger tap, the first or second option should be either read from next line, or that would be the continuous reading. But if there's someone else wants to kind of clarify, because there's different terms of saying continuous reading.
So read from next line is actually the continuous
well, there's
reading?
that mode, and then there's also another mode. So I'll let somebody else is saying something. Was that Kevin?
Yes, Kevin.
Go ahead.
The command to read continuously from next item, which actually most of the time will read continuously from the current item.
Most of the time
is 2-finger triple tap.
A 2-finger triple tap. Okay.
Yes. And then you can go in, if you want to read from the top of the screen, you can go in and assign one of the other multi-finger gestures to that.
Okay. Now, is there a gesture for activating reading mode?
Yes, now there is, because you can go in, and I just noticed this the other day, but now they have what they call the accessibility shortcut. I guess it's been there for a while, but you can swipe up from the bottom with 3 fingers. And it'll open reading mode, so you don't have to find that button. Especially if you're totally blind, you don't have to hunt down that button. So you just swipe up. You have to go set it up this way, but you have to swipe up from the bottom with 3 fingers.
You have to set it up in your settings?
Correct.
Yeah, and then go
okay.
to
This is actually real
accessibility,
quick.
and then go to reading mode, and then go to settings.
Okay.
This is actually real quick. So I just want to mention that Kevin is explaining this about a Pixel phone specifically. So for those that might be using Samsung, I mean, it's similar settings, but it works slightly differently.
Okay. All right. Thanks.
You're welcome. Somebody else is saying something? Was that Foster?
Oh, no, I was just saying that I totally forgot that it would come up in the action menu. I just noticed that a couple days ago, too.
Yes. Like I said, I know certain things kind of take a little delay on the Samsung side, but they're going to be the same thing. But yeah, on the Pixel, what I was talking about earlier with Shay's question, you have 4 choices on Samsung phones. Whereas on a Pixel phone, I think there's only like 2 or 3 choices for shortcuts. So, like they don't use volume up and power for anything, I don't think, on Pixel phones, where on Samsung they do. And if you go to any, so I like color inversion as well. So I usually set that to swipe, let's see, right and then down arrow, because that's like opening up, I think, notifications, but I could already swipe with 2 fingers downwards. So that's a duplicate gesture. And then there is 3 gestures, for example, to get to your talkback menu. Swipe up and right, swipe down and right, and then 3-finger tap. That takes you to the same places. So I changed my swipe up and right to a different gesture. I forget what I did it for one. And then swipe down and right, same thing. I set that to copy last spoken phrase, because I found that that's a nice, quick way to copy anything without having talkback being frustrating and, there's nothing to copy. Well, yes, there is. It said something. So just a quick little tip there that I started using. Let's say you land on some sort of item. If you do your gesture, whatever gesture you choose, but if you choose copy last item and you select that gesture to do that action, anything that your phone said will copy to your clipboard. And I like it because I use Gboard specifically. So if I was copying an email address, it's going to clean up all the fluff. And if I'm on Discord, if I'm on email, it's going to take away all the fluff. Just give me what I'm looking for, which is that email address. So if you hear email or you hear something that you want, you could set that as a gesture. You could set reading mode as like swipe up and right. You could do all kinds of things within your talkback settings if you wanted to. Thank you.
This is
But
Kevin.
more questions? Go ahead, Kevin.
To the person that was talking about giving speeches, I think that perhaps instead of having to go in and start over or pause and play even reading mode, you might want to softly start using talkback, because then you can go line by line. You can just swipe. You can switch it to lines and swipe down, or you can just swipe, to the right and go line by line. That way you can take it in the doses that you want it, instead of having to manage with that and fiddle with all that. So it might be better to use talkback for that.
But if I'm using talkback for that, and say I want to pause, say I'm reading, I'm delivering something and I want to pause, say to take questions. I do that with a swiping gesture. I don't have to say that verbally, right?
Right.
You hold 2 fingers on the screen and it'll stop.
And it'll just read, and it's only going to read one line. So, and sometimes that line is just a reminder to me of what I'm talking about, and I can just go from there. I don't even have to let it finish, but you just tap with 2 fingers to stop it. And then you swipe to the right and go to the next line, and you can swipe 2 or 3 times if you want to get 2 or 3 lines of it, and then you can go say what you need to say again. Or while someone is asking a question or whatever, you can be kind of swiping through and kind of figure out what's coming up next, and then you can go back and forth.
Oh dear Lord God. Okay.
Hey Hershey, this is Hershey, Kevin. Can you use the Hable 1 with Android, if you know?
That webcast or whatever they were having that time, they were showing it with the Halo 1.
Because the only reason, I have one sitting next to me, but I tried pairing it up. I haven't read the directions fully it did some functions, but it just acted like it was messing with it, like it wasn't working the way it should. So I haven't had time to dive into it deeper. But what's interesting, and that whole idea of doing a speech really sounds intriguing, because if you had a device like that, like the Hable 1 in your pocket, and if you set it to character or word or even line, as you alluded to, you could keep swiping on a button in your pocket or whatnot, but it's reading to you in your headphone or your earbud, line by line. And if you want to stop, you just hit the pause button on it because you could set one of the buttons to set, as pause. So if you wanted to
Mhm.
tactily do it, I was just thinking, between that or even a keyboard or anything else, uh, TalkBack is powerful. I mean, I know for people that have low vision, it's a little harder to just dive into
Mhm.
something that just babbles at you. But
Mhm.
once you get the hang of it, you're in control. It's like, you get the saddle to the horse, so to speak. Um, it might be really powerful for you.
Oh, Lord. Okay.
All
Okay.
right. So, anybody else have any thoughts, questions, concerns?
So I want to ask the person who has the Galaxy Fold 5, what differences, I don't know if they had the 4 prior to the 5, but what new features does the 5 have?
This is Quentin. I went from the 3 to the 5. I
Mhm.
was going to go to the 4, but
Mhm.
compared to the 3, um, aside from some slight hardware differences, everything else was pretty much the same.
Mhm.
Obviously with the 4 compared to the 3, the camera's a little better.
Mhm.
Um, certain other embedded features work a little better. But it wasn't as significant when I went to the 5. The 5, definitely a lot slimmer, a lot, um, lighter, but
Mhm.
the front screen had more, you could do more with the front screen, without having to, go in and get all technical and start resizing and everything else. Everything worked
Mhm.
well. You could turn off the always on and it actually turned it off, you know,
Mhm.
um, and its response as compared to the 3 was a lot better. With
Mhm.
the 3, you you would tap or do whatever, even just to wake up the phone. Like it was fat, it was like boom, okay, it's
Mhm.
awoken, things like that. Um, Once you open it, obviously the screen is better, as compared to the 3, way
Mhm.
better. And it too was a lot more responsive.
Mhm.
Um, almost a little bit more sensitive, or at least that's how it felt to me.
Mhm.
Um, but your your features work better, which most of that is software, but I guess with the 5, they were like, "Hey, we need to fix this." Um, so the majority of the accessibility apps
Mhm.
actually work quite well, um, with little or minimum issue. I haven't even had system locking, like my phone just locking up. I haven't
Mhm.
had that. Um, I haven't had where, like when you're using TalkBack, but you're doing other things, and then TalkBack just kind of doesn't know what's happening. It, I haven't really had that,
Uh-huh.
maybe randomly once. I can't even remember. Um, but again, with compared to the 4, it's going to be a little bit better hardware. Um, I know the screen is better. I
Mhm.
know um, obviously the camera's better, which is great with WeZoom. Um, if you use that.
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
Oh, it's nice. Um,
Okay. Yeah, because there's some things we Zoom can't quite get. Yeah.
right, right. Which, actually I had started using Envision AI a lot as
Mhm.
compared to like Lookout or, what's the other one I was using? I can't remember offhand. That's how long I've been using this one.
Mhm.
Um, it it's really good with picking up, the print and
Mm-hmm.
everything when it wants to read text.
Mm-hmm.
Almost a little too much. Um, it's kind of like I'll sit here at my PC and I go to turn it on, and just automatic, it's like reading my keyboard, and I'm like, calm
Wow.
down, you know. Whereas before, um, with my 5, it when it did, it it wouldn't like read what it's seeing. It would just maybe I kind of slightly moved, and it would read. We'll say the F1, F2, F3, but then it doesn't read everything else around it. And I'm
Mm.
like,
The
okay,
focus
that
point is a little blurry on the sides, I
yeah,
guess. Yeah.
yeah, the focus, it was really
Uh,
weird. So,
uh-huh.
um, other than that, I mean,
The other thing also, guys, do look out for the summertime because Fold 6, or yeah, we're phone number 6 now, right? Fold 5 out. But
yeah,
the next up in line is going to come out in July, more than likely, or August, more than likely
right.
August. And so you got the Flip Fold Duo that released in that time frame. Google I/O is coming up soon. I forgot to check the dates. I forgot if Kevin or anybody else knows, or if y'all looked it up. But Google I/O is coming up, so more than likely, if they do announce a phone, they would announce the 8A, because that's just, I'm talking about trends that they do, and then probably the Fold 2 or the Pixel Fold 2, if they do get another Fold out there. So I mean, there's foldables on both sides of the pond, so to speak. The Pixel Fold is more square, like a passport, whereas uh, the Samsung Fold is more like a chocolate bar, like a peanut butter bar. Um, so it's skinnier when you fold it in your
Mm-hmm.
hand, whereas the other one is more square, like almost holding a Kit Kat in your hand, that square shape. So
Mm-hmm.
Right.
just kind of give you that, and then the Fold 6 will come out. So I'm sure there'll be new features and stuff like that. And then the 8A will be your feature, or your budget feature phones, or not feature, but your budget phone. And by September or so, October, we'll probably have the 9, or whatever they call the next version after the Pixel Pro 8 from Google.
So currently is the Fold 5, when you open it up, is it larger than the Pixel Fold?
I don't recall.
So it's not.
7 inches wide. I think that's the Fold. The Pixel Fold is 7 inches, I think. I don't
Well,
recall on the
when
Samsung.
I got my 5, I teetered with going back to, I think I was going to go to the S23, but they had a demo, and I had them show me side by side. So it's more an orientation difference. Like he said, the
Mm-hmm.
way that they're shaped when they're closed, when you open it,
Mm-hmm.
the Samsung is, you know, so when you just open it, the Samsung is taller, you
Mm-hmm.
know, not
Mm-hmm.
necessarily wider, but it's taller. But of course, when you turn it sideways, guess what? It's longer, right? With the Pixel, it's kind of the same thing, except it's
Either
more
way.
square. So it's kind of like it sort of doesn't matter what
Mm-hmm.
orientation, you're kind of getting the same
Mm-hmm.
size. But again, you you have the Fold. For
Yeah.
those with small hands, kind of might be challenging. So like the Pixel, because of its shape, m might be a little better. But
Mm-hmm.
again, it's all personal preference, and everything else. So
Mm-hmm.
I would
Well, I do
say
kind of consciously, like if I put it down and it's open, I am kind of feeling for the shorter, you know, it's
right,
easier to pick it up rather than the long way.
right,
right,
and it's like you said, like one's wider or one's more squared. Um, you would think the Pixel Fold, if you want to call it anything, it's kind of a blend of the Flip and the Fold together.
Yeah, yeah,
That's
yeah.
kind of how it feels, but it still opens up like a notebook or a passport.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I mean, it's pretty decent weight either way you look at it. So, but just to kind of give you the heads up, if you are in the market for new foldable, that there's gonna be some new ones and old ones get cheaper.
Yeah. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, this is Foster.
Go ahead, Foster. What are you gonna buy me, Foster, real quick? Oh, okay. Never mind. I got silence. Wow.
Well, like you said, as the new ones come out, the old ones get cheaper. So I just picked me up a Z Fold 3 for like under $600 with tax and stuff.
Oh, nice.
So
Yeah.
don't you already have a multimedia man cave device? I'm just kidding.
No, that is going to be the multimedia
Right.
device because I love it. I see what you're saying, Quentin. I
You
love
like it?
This thing
Yeah.
is off the chain.
And I would have kept my 3, and used it, multimedia. I mean, I have my S10 that I use for everything else, so to speak. But, the deal for the 5 was just, I had to do it. I had to do it, But
Yeah.
I mean, my 5, I'm not giving up my 5 because it just works so well. And with the screen and everything, for those with low vision, like it's not too big, but it's not too small,
Yeah,
and
that's what
yeah,
I found with this one. The like when like on the front, the front I use it basically like when I'm pulling up my ride for like my our paratransit here. So I'll
right,
open up Chrome real quick, pop it up, see who's picking me up, how far away. But then like on the inside, like oh man, I'm like I'm putting 2 apps together, checking mail over here, checking my tabs, so yeah, like and like you say, it's just visually easy on the eye. And another thing about Samsung I like is like with your how you can change the grid on the home screen.
right,
Like either how loose icons are or how tight. So of course, I like them a little loose so that way I can see them, and same with the apps, so hey, I might have more screen to scroll, but it's easier to view and like you said,
right,
it's perfect. Like that 7, I think it's 7.6 inches when it's open. Like that's perfect. Like that's perfect.
right. And
But
even when you
do you have an
magnify,
S Pen? Do you
S
have an
Pen,
S
yeah,
Pen
yes,
for the like? There's one
for the fold.
specifically for the fold. Yeah.
So they have 2 types. They have the S Pen Fold, which is for the fold,
Right.
and then they have the other S Pen. Now, I'm trying to remember. The newest S Pen you can use on the fold. It's the one, it's got Bluetooth, it can connect, etc. The S Pen
Right.
Fold isn't like Bluetooth connected or anything like that. It's just an S
Okay.
Pen
Just
that
a
you
pen.
use.
Right.
Yeah. So it's up to you which one you want to get. If I remember correctly, the other S Pen is like $100 or something like that. It might be cheaper now, but it can also be not just for your phone. You can use it with your tablet. Like you can use it with other devices. That's what they went to one.
Any other Samsung devices?
Any of the others,
Okay.
you would get that pen, unless
Gotcha.
like my tablet. The tablets come with a pen, but even those, if I'm not mistaken, they have them to where you can use those pens on, except for the fold.
Right.
Don't
Right.
try to use your tablet
Okay.
pen on your fold. That's
That's what I was reading about. Yeah.
don't
Yeah.
do it.
Don't do that.
Don't do it. I tell you a quick
Okay.
story. I was in
Okay.
line trying, with the phone. Somebody came in because they used like an older S Pen. I want to say it was like from from their like S device, like S20 or 22 or whatever.
Oh, right. Yeah.
and they tried to
yeah.
use it on their Fold, and it did not go well.
Mm-mm. Oh
It
my
was
God.
bad.
Okay.
So
Mm-mm. Yeah. Okay. Yeah,
All right.
that's the one thing I do want to get. But yeah.
yeah, if you use that,
Um.
I would recommend getting one. Um,
Yeah.
the S Pen Fold, it's not really that expensive. If I remember, it's pretty cheap.
Mm-hmm. No, it's
But like
not.
I said, the other
But I
one,
want the Bluetooth one.
yeah, you got to go big,
Yeah. I'll go home. Go big.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So you were saying that, like, as the newer models come out, the older models are less expensive. It's like when I killed my Z Fold 3 and I went into the
Mm-hmm.
AT&T store and I got a 4. The 5s hadn't come out yet, so I got the 4. But I could have got a 3. They didn't have any 3s, but I could have got a 3 like from somewhere else, like Amazon or something, or
So this
Uh,
is Foster. There's a site I shop on that where you can get a lot of older model phones, and they range from fair to excellent condition. It's called Gazelle, and they also offer a payment. You get like I said, mine was in good condition. The price was 500 something. And if you can't pay it in full, they also use Affirm, and so you could pay it out over time if you want to do it that way.
Zelle.
Yeah, like the animal.
Gazelle, Gaz.
Mm-hmm.
But so the question is, because like, when I went to AT&T store, they initially set it up and transferred everything. So how would I do that if I bought a phone off of a third party, not a phone store?
Well, just like I did when I got my Fold, I used the Samsung switch and did a USB-C to USB-C to my Pixel phone and transferred everything over that way.
Well,
right.
you're talking Greek. Okay.
This
Well,
Quinn.
so where your phone, where you plug your phone in at, right?
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
for the charger, the US. Okay, so they make the USB-C cable. They make it where it's two ends, right? It's a USB-C on one end
on
and a
each end.
USB-C on the other.
Uh-huh.
Right. So then the Pixel also has a USB-C port as well that you use for charging. Well, you take the cable and plug it up to both phones, and then you have to have the app on both phones, and then you tell which you start on the phone that you want to transfer information to, and then it'll tell you to plug in the other phone, and then it'll send a message to the other phone, and you respond, yes, you want to transfer information, and it transfers it.
Oh, okay. So
Yep.
you're making it sound easy. Okay.
That's pretty easy.
Okay.
So
It runs you it guides you step by step.
Right.
It's yeah.
Okay.
as soon as you pick up any phone or if you reset your phone, it's just like a new story, right? So you open up the phone. Hey, who are you? Welcome. What do you speak? English. So next thing is you pick in your English. Oh, well, I need to know you. So, hey, you want to tell me your internet password so I could get on the internet and then download all the cool things for you? So that's kind of the walk, right? Every single time.
Right.
So you give it the Wi-Fi password and it's connected to something so I could connect out. And then it's like, hey, well, what's your email address? Because I still don't know who you are. So you give it your username and Gmail stuff, right? So then it's like, oh, well, I see you got stuff over here. You want me to bring it with me? And then you decide, hey, you know what? I'm going to start fresh. And some people have different decisions here. I like starting fresh because I get to make a new house. I like to, I could decor it my way, so to speak. If you bring old messes from old houses, you're bringing that same mess with you. So transferring sometimes from old phones, you might have an app you might have tried and it was really, just garbage app. You didn't know what it was. And rather than bringing that extra nonsense with you, you could just start fresh. And most Google apps are already pre-installed, so there's not much to install from the Google side. But, that's just one way of starting clean, starting fresh. And by the way, this is a Pixel Fold in my hand. I'm not sure. I have my camera on. I'm gonna open it, and it's like
It's pretty big.
horizontal. And then now I'm gonna flip it to the back. Oop, sorry about that. Ouchie for the ears, but yeah, that's the back. So this side is, it feels like nothing. Wherever my hand is on my left, the flat part,
Right.
it's just
that's the front.
a back. Or actually, no, this is the front. Sorry, yeah. And then right
Yeah,
here,
that's the front.
I feel the glass, and then I always feel like this. It almost feels rubbery, but it's not. It's the logo for the Google logo in the middle. So I know that if I feel the logo, just for people that might have not any, they may not have the site, and that's the site that your fingerprint really won't get on it. But it's, you could put your hand there, and then above it you have, I think, triple cameras or dual cameras. I forget the specs on the Fold.
Triple.
Pixel Fold. Triple. Okay, so 1, 2, and 3.
Just triple.
And then here I'll flip it back around. So like, you see what I mean by the passport? Like, it's, I'm holding it in between my bottom finger and top finger. And now if I close
it's
it,
shorter.
and so on. So TalkBack, select to speak, all the accessibility features that you would think of are all there. And again, even if the screen is closed and I wanted to use TalkBack on the front screen, it's there. I think I turned it off the other day because my buddy was using it. That's cited. There it goes. Ding. So I hit volume up and volume down, and that's why I did the whole the ding sound. Here, let's get it close to the mic.
Yeah, I
and you'll hear
use
it
that.
turned off.
I use that on.
Yeah.
So that's for TalkBack, and that's just to let you know you turn it on and off now. That's the Pixel Fold. But more questions, more thoughts, keep on coming.
Yeah, this is Foster. I
Foster.
really wish OnePlus would get into it, because have you seen their foldable?
I've heard good things. That's all I know about it.
Yeah, it's kind of in between. As far as size wise, it's kind of in between the Pixel Fold and the Z Fold. It's a little taller than the Pixel, but still shorter than the Samsung. And then it's kind of, as far as the width of it, like when it's closed, it's in between the both of them. But then, they have that huge, they have a huge camera bump on the back, that Hasselblad camera they have. But it comes, excuse me, it comes with, I think they made one model with 12 gigabytes of RAM and 256 gigabytes of storage. So they just made one model. They didn't make different increments on the RAM or the storage.
Biggest thing also is accessibility wise, everything's still there. TalkBack and screen reader wise, the support is still there. So
yeah,
I mean, OnePlus is still trustable in that fashion. I mean, I lately just have been saying Samsung for low vision, Pixel for screen readers. But if you want where it came from, that's Google. And then Sony definitely have been doing a great job with camera stuff and all that. Whoops, sorry about that. And so there's some choices out there for sure. It's just the consistency and who's going to stay the long fight, right? That's the part that's always worrisome, is who's going to stay the long fight. Because we invest in thousands of dollars into equipment and ecosystems, but who's sticking around?
As well as the updates,
Well,
So
that's what I'm trying to get
that
at.
was
So
another thing I looked at.
Pixel 7 years OS updates. Samsung have not announced. I don't think. I think it's 5 years is the last I heard. But I'm sure Samsung's going to probably match that 7 years or what have you. So between the two companies, 7-year OS updates. TalkBack is on its own cycle, so you will always have TalkBack features until they do an infrastructure change, which there's nothing like that happening anytime soon. That from what I see. So you have a phone that you might give an example. Pixel 8. I just looked at it yesterday. It is for $459, just the Pixel 8 regular. And that's a 128 gigabyte. A 256 is Pixel 8 Pro 709 at Best Buy, or 809 for 256. So 128, 709, and 809 for 256. So $250 off of a $1,000 phone. Not a bad deal. And if you get the Pixel 8 regular, you might have a couple features that are not there, but you still got TalkBack, the camera for $459. And then you got 7 years to have that support, whereas the Pixel 7a does not have that. So that's the only reason I kind of push people to say, hey, go Pixel or go Samsung. So you got your support and your money's kind of protected.
But you're right, Hershey. Who's going to be in for the long haul? Because that's what made me mad about Microsoft. Because I had the
What were they
Microsoft
doing?
phone.
And
I
then they go to
loved it.
Amazon store, then they dropped Android. That's why Miss Ava, when in the beginning of the show, she was kind of being funny. She's like, maybe if the tablets stick around, because like we all love our Android, but then like Amazon nowadays, like this recently is announcing they're going to make their own version of Android and not really use Android. So that means we have to go learn their stuff as well. I
Right,
mean, just a lot of fragmentation for unnecessary reasons. And Wesley had mentioned about the Braille No Touch. Like that's disheartening to know you spend so much money for devices, and then they're like, "I'm sorry, we out." But any more questions? Please keep it covered, and if not, I could even show you real quick the reading mode if it let me know. Okay, let's do
Richard,
the read. Go ahead.
I have the Zoom app on my phone, but for some reason it is just not clicking over to work. I get into it, it enters it, it says I'm in it, and it says speaker is active listening. But I don't hear anything from anywhere and nobody hears me, so I don't know if it was set up wrong. I wasn't even the one who set it up. So I have no idea how to actually get it to where it is functioning like it should, where I can talk and where I can hear in Zoom.
All right. Anybody could help Mr. Richard with having difficulties with the Zoom app? Has his Android phone, but either he can't hear people or people can hear him on both sides. So anybody got some insight for Mr. Richard here? Yeah, Mr. Richard, that's a tough one. Only thing is with TalkBack and whatnot, you could always look for muting and unmuting. Make sure that when you're on the app, you're connect. It says Wi-Fi. Go ahead, John, if you have any insight. Somebody had raised their hand, but if you want to speak, go ahead, just unmute yourself and let us know who you are. But if you unmute or mute or on Zoom itself, just make sure you pick cellular or Wi-Fi, so your audio is connected that way. And then after that, you should be fine to see the mute and unmute and all of those other buttons at the bottom.
That's where I went. It says cellular, so I did both, and
Yeah, you double tap the first one, Wi-Fi cellular, and then after that, I mean that's the best I could help, because it's hard to see where it's getting stuck. Right now, we could hear you fine, and you're on Zoom, so I'm not sure if you're on another device.
I'm not on Zoom. I'm actually dialed in.
Oh, okay.
And so whenever I went to it, it says speaker is active listening. And then it says that it cannot connect to speaker. Go into settings and connect to speaker, and there's an OK button, and it just never lets me do it though. And speaker
right,
and everything.
The only option that I'm aware of, me personally, whenever I have anything that comes up, is the first thing would be to connect via Wi-Fi cellular, and then the other one is call in. So if you pick call in, it's fine. You could still pick it as call in. But those are your two choices. The reason why you use call in, if you're limited on bandwidth, the call in feature works a little bit more elegantly with delivering your voice to the others. The Wi-Fi and cellular uses the other stuff, so you could give those two things a shot. And if anybody else wants to chime in, I think John or somebody had their hands raised. Please chime in and feel free.
Hi, my name is John. First time listener and just glad to be here. No, you pretty much, thank you. You pretty much said what I was thinking was that I think maybe, I'm not saying he did it, but maybe sometimes when people join, they join without video or without audio, as opposed to one of the three options like Wi-Fi or cellular data or the like one of those like the phone tap options. So but I just wanted to chime in really quick to let everyone know that the Google I/O is expected to be Tuesday, May 14th, 2024.
Thank you. Okay.
I
Yeah,
did
anybody
a
could
Google
register
search
too.
just now.
Sweet. Thank you for that. And what's cool about Google I/O? Google I/O for Applers or Apple folks is like WWDC, similar to their developer conference. So Google I/O is Google's developer conference, and we get to know what might be in the works for accessibility features. And I know a couple years in a row they've mentioned quite a bit in the Braille section. So like the Braille keyboard came out one year. Second year was I think offering of Braille display support and other little tidbits for language and hearing loss, and so that's the place to kind of keep your eye peeled for for the new keynote and what's coming up. And yeah, if anybody has more questions, thoughts, I heard Miss Ava come in here a couple of times. So did I mess up, Miss Ava?
Richard. So it's telling you it's not connected to a speaker.
What I heard he said is it's speaker. What I heard is speaker is who's talking, I think is what he said. So
Okay, then Richard, what I would do
No,
is, go ahead, Richard.
when it goes into the Zoom and everything is working, and I get into it, it says speaker is active listening. Double tap to activate. And when I do that, that's when it says to me, it cannot connect to speaker. Go to settings and activate speaker. But before I even go in, there is the settings there that says connect the audio on off switch, connect the video on off switch, and I make sure all that's turned on before I even go in.
Okay. That's perfectly fine there. But what you're reading there, Mr. Richard, is actually not the speaker as a speakerphone. It's the active person speaking, because you mentioned active earlier. So I'm the one that's actively speaking. There's two modes on Zoom. You could have it in a grid view, which is gallery view, or active speaker view. So whoever's talking, the video will appear with that person's face or their name if they don't have their video turned on. So all that's really telling you is, as right now, if I'm talking, the video that's appearing is that person that's talking. If you double tapped on that or tapped on it, the other option that you might have is called gallery, and then you'll see a whole bunch of circles. If you do have low vision, you'll see a whole bunch of circles, and that's all the participants in this meeting look like little dots, almost like the Brady Bunch kind of thing, but in circles.
Exactly, and I see all that, and that's all there.
And everything else should be working fine. And if your microphone part doesn't work, your mic is already connected to your phone, so that shouldn't be an issue, because if you're seeing video and that, you just have mute and unmute at the bottom, and then whatever other settings that are available per meeting that you enter.
And that's what is weird. I don't hear anything. There is nothing. I don't hear nobody, and they don't even hear me.
This is if it's telling you to go to settings with Zoom, even though you have the launch page when you open it, always check to go make sure that all of your permissions are granted, because they sometimes get turned off. But there's different functions of Zoom that will not work. There's even tabs that won't show up unless you have certain permissions granted. So you want to make sure that all your permissions are turned on.
Now, is that...
Hang on, Richard. Just to let everybody know, in our meetings, we do not have to raise hands. All you have to do is wait till there's a lull in the conversation, announce your name, and Hershey or myself will acknowledge you to speak in, okay? Okay, Mr. Richard, you can go back and say what you were saying.
When you mentioned the settings and permission, that would be in the Zoom app settings or the phone setting app itself?
Phone settings. So since yeah, so go to all apps and then go to Zoom. On Pixel, you can go to apps and it'll be at the top because they have a recently opened apps, but the other phones you'll have to go all the way down to the end. And then you open up Zoom and then you go over to permissions and double tap on that, and it'll have all the ones where the permissions are granted at the top, and the ones that are not granted, it'll say not granted or something like that, not activated or whatever it says. And you have to open them up and go and check it, and then you close it, you go and open the next one. So it's a little bit tedious, but once you get it done, and then check the box that says, or uncheck the box that says, if I don't use this app in so many days or whatever, take the permissions away, uncheck that so that you don't have to worry about the permissions going away.
Good
Okay,
point.
so it is in the Zoom app settings. And real quick, my phone does that. Recently opened apps or recently used apps. Mine does that. I don't have to go through all 70 apps or all 80. I can just go right to the recent opened or recently used. I can go right to that. My phone will do that. So.
All right, very well. Well, thank you so much. Thank you for that question. Any other question, thoughts?
Yes,
about to wrap
John,
up?
your hand.
John had John had something to say too. Go ahead, John.
Yeah, I just wanted to reinforce what everyone was saying, that with respect to the permissions, maybe I'm not saying you did this, but maybe it's always good to go in there and just make sure that, because I don't know on Android side, but on iOS, like for the permissions, it'll ask, do you want the microphone on? Do you want the camera on? So then like they can see you and you're unmuted and all of that. So it's always a good reminder to make sure that all of your permissions, you've allowed all the necessary permissions.
And thank you for that, John, for that excellent point. Because yeah, the difference between iOS and Android, well, there isn't. If you don't use the app, the reason why they take it away from you is security, right? So it's privacy issues. And with the microphone and the camera part, same situation. It's a privacy setting. So both iOS and Android are mimicking a lot of the same feature sets. And so that's why if you don't use the app for, let's say, 30 days or what have you, no matter if you just downloaded it, it's going to take away all the permissions. So it doesn't phone back home to if it's a bad app or something. So that's a safety measure that Google and iOS with Apple are taking. So, grateful to have them protect us with our data. Well, anybody want to read a news article? I was thinking we could use it. Let's figure this out. I think I got this.
Sensor. Device locked. Unlocked. Chrome.
Okay.
Device unlocked.
Okay, Google. Read it out loud.
Tap to dismiss assistant. Double tap.
Sorry, I didn't understand.
Oh, a big one. Be quiet. Okay, Google. Read it out loud.
Read it.
The mic's off.
Google Assistant. About my location. Tap to dismiss assistant.
Let's first figure out if I'm on the article.
Actually, while you're doing that,
Mm-hmm.
anybody update their watch, Samsung watch, and notice the battery dying quickly? Yeah.
Google's surprise new update brings unique
I have the LTE version of the Watch 6. Battery was awesome. I did an update, I want to say a couple days ago. And now I get what, maybe 6 hours?
Tap to dismiss assistant.
And I don't have a lot of stuff running or happening with it.
Sorry, I'm not able to read what's on that page aloud.
So I was just wondering if anybody else had that. I mean, we had a phone update too, so I need to look
You
into
might
that.
have to go. You may have to go dig into your settings.
Yeah.
Because it may have activated something that you like. Like, do you use the always on feature?
No.
Yeah. So you might want to dig, make sure that's not activated. It might be something. It may have put something in the settings or activated something that's running
Right.
down your battery. So you got to find out what program or what features eating up, because something's running in the
Right.
background
I'm
that's
hoping it's
killing your
not the
battery.
LTE side of it, because then I'll have to turn that off, leave it
Mm-hmm.
off until I need it, turn it back on, and
Who's
go
your
through that.
carrier?
Hey, Quentin, this is Hershey real
AT&T.
quick.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
If you go to your members app on your Samsung phone and just drop a note over there too, to see if
Okay.
that might be an issue, because it might be a bad update.
Right.
That happens
Mm-hmm.
from time to time. So if this is right after your update and you didn't do anything different, then it might just be a sloppy update. And at least someone is aware, or maybe there's a fix for it. I'll look
Right.
around and maybe I'll drop it on our list. But sometimes stuff like this happens. The only other thing I could think of, if you don't mind, wipe it, factory reset it, come back to it, and
Yeah, that was my thought.
I
that
had
just
a
takes out a
follow-up.
bad cache. Go ahead with the follow-up.
Oh, sorry, this is John again. I had a
Go ahead.
follow-up thought. I wonder if Android OS parallels iOS in the sense that I've heard that on iOS that when they push new updates that sometimes your battery may drain a little more than usual because it's doing all these changes in the background.
And it could be potentially could be
True.
that. So your first time around when you get an update, what it's doing is trying to get all the settings right and trying to really know you. And then after that, it just becomes a really, really good battery because it knows your habits.
Right.
So it very well could be that. But then if you wipe it and then come back to it, you're not losing much because it's just restoring back the watch to what you already had on it.
Yeah.
But at least if you have any bugs or fluffs in between, dust bunnies stuck in between, it'll wipe those away. And then if not, putting a drop in the members app, so someone's aware of this bad update.
Right.
This is
This
Kevin.
is Richard.
Go ahead, Kevin.
On the Samsung watches, sometimes just turning the LTE off and the Bluetooth off and turning it back on, or sometimes restarting the watch with them off and then turning it back on will solve the battery problem.
Okay.
Gem started like Yoshi.
What this is Richard.
Good, Richard.
What I don't have a watch, but I do have my phone when it updates, and I do have iPad when that updates. But what I usually do is I check if there is any updates, and if there is, then I check how much battery life I already have, and if I have a low battery, I don't even update anything. I put it on the charger and
Correct,
have
yep.
a full battery.
Sound advice. Good sound advice.
Or there's another thing I do when I do the updates. I still make sure that my phone is on the charger. That's the second thing I do. I just leave it on the charger, let it go through its updates so they're. And then sometimes on occasion, it even says to update, make sure your battery is on charger, or
Yep.
make sure
And
you leave it
that's
on
like
a
I said,
charger.
sound device, because that's for any device to always keep it above at least 70%, or they say
Right.
30%. But with Quentin's problem in this matter, I mean, just try those a couple steps. Give us some feedback if you wouldn't mind on the list. We could at least get down to the bottom because I know, like I said, new watches are probably right around the corner, and
Right.
for watches to keep doing silly stuff like that, like this, you paid good money.
It's the first time I've had an issue with the battery.
And Samsung they do really, really well with batteries. So
Yeah, they do well.
yeah.
Because even with TalkBack on my watch, I just leave it on, and I don't have an issue.
Yeah, you get at least a day out of it. Then you got the Pixel Watch 2, which is the other Android watch as far as choices for wearables. And then Fossil, Mont Blanc, if you're trying to go to your mall and get your Mont Blanc pen, some Mont Blanc cologne, and a watch. Stay classy. But you have your choices out there. So fashion is fashion, and you know what? If you're blind, vision impaired, low vision, doesn't matter. We deserve to have the same things as anybody else. And again,
Get
really,
you
really
some
appreciate
Ray-Bans.
y'all. Really, really appreciate y'all. And hey, Ava, when do I come back over here? When will I stumble upon this journey again? Because we're almost cutting it down here. I mean, if you have there's more questions, I mean, we can answer a couple more here. But
Oh
come
yeah,
down to this.
we have 6 minutes left.
Yeah.
So we have a time for at least one more question, maybe two. But we will be back in April on April 17th, 2024.
April 17th. All right. Put that in my calendar. I always forget these things. And okay, Google. Oh, sorry. My
So
bad.
this is Foster.
Foster.
So for all my, because I'm joining the clique, the Samsung clique now. For all my Samsung folks. So has anybody looked at getting the Ring?
I don't know if I want to get married lately. I mean, I've thought about it. I don't know,
Well, on
man. I
that,
mean,
I'll
I
tell
might
you
have
it's
to
a
come
good
back to you
deal
on
to
that
do that.
one.
Is it? Have you gotten your hands on one?
No, not
No.
yet. But I've been doing my research on it, and it seems to be pretty good. My only thing is I can't remember how long they said the battery life is
Right.
on it, but there are already other rings out there because a lot of athletes wear those rings, and they're
Right.
supposed to be real good at checking your heart rate and this and that, just as good as the watch.
Right.
So Samsung decided to, they decided to jump in the game, but there's already like some out there already.
So we got
That
a
means I have to get more
wearable, we
active.
got a watch, we got a phone, Envision
In or-
glasses, maybe
in order-
$2,000.
Oh no. I actually just I tried out what they call them, smart glasses. Just
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm
I
getting
got
the
this.
Metas. I'm getting the Metas. I'm gonna get the
Oh,
Metas.
okay.
Yeah,
These aren't as high speed.
Metas are 300 Meta.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Ray-Ban Metas. So yeah,
Oh
I'm
my
getting those.
gosh. See, that's too
Allow Facebook
that's
to come into
stylish right
Foster's
there.
way.
Oh
But
no,
no,
you
I've
can
been
ask Ava.
trying
That's me all day.
all day.
Well, the other ones that are out there, it's interesting because like Samsung is a backbone to a lot of things, like the Samsung Iris Vision, the Patriot, and whatnot. But it's a different software. It's a different ROM that's put on top of it. So
Right.
I always find this kind of funny when the price point goes like out of affordability, and I need that ability to have some affordability in this assistive technology decision making here. So just saying.
And Amazon has smart glasses too.
Yep, and then the glasses, the earbuds. Like I said, it just depends whose ecosystem you're in. I say don't try to jump into too many. Keep one so you have less things to keep track of. But if you like them all, they love you.
Yeah, I would definitely say try before you buy. That's for sure. Even if it's just you go on Amazon and buy like a cheap pair of those glasses just to get an understanding or feel for it. Because it is rather interesting, but it's not quite where you would think it should be with them, but then all the other benefits are great. I mean, come on, you have a pair of sunglasses or glasses, you put lenses in them. Hey, it's a cool pair of glasses, right?
And the accessibility is still there. So I mean, that's one
Right.
good factor. Somebody has asked me before, what does text-to-speech mean and what is TalkBack? Well, text-to-speech is the engine or the speech that TalkBack, the screen reader, is using to speak out information, right? So that's usually encompassed with a lot of these devices, and that's why they say it's Android built or it's made on Android. And so they use TalkBack as its screen reader, like the Sony TVs, and then the other one, Roku, uses somewhat of a TalkBack type of screen reader, and Samsung uses this Tizen with their screen reader of its flavor. So there's voice guide or some whatever Samsung calls it, guide, and voice view from Fire, this, that, and the other. But they all kind of intercollide and meet us all in the middle, and so. You pick your brand. If you go to Fire, then you're going to have the voice view. If you go to Amazon, that's voice view. If you go to Google, you'll get TalkBack. Or if you go to Apple, you'll get VoiceOver. So there's choices out there.
Voice view is garbage. Wait, I don't want them to hear me say that.
I think Foster's Echo already heard you because I heard it turn on earlier.
What do you mean? One of my echoes heard it.
All right, y'all. It's 8:30.
Hey, Ziggy, I gotta go home.
Great.
Remember, the next meeting is next month on April 17th, 2024. It's the third Wednesday, same time, 7 p.m.
Same back channel.
Back channel.
Yes.
Wow. Showing our age, huh?
All right,
Yep.
now.
And guess what? I don't care.
Thank you. I love the Bat Cave. Okay.
We all
when
love
is
Easter?
When is Easter?
31st.
Oh well, yeah. Then so happy Easter to everyone.
Happy Easter to you.
Happy Easter. Oh, you buy new toys.
Foster just gave me the silent look, so it's all good in the hood.
My
You're still welcome.
budget is
Glad to see you next month.